Like my 1-year-old daughter's separate with me. Biscuits and a salad.
Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we're going to be getting into another TikTok person that you guys sent to me, so thank you so much. I do apologize again, lack of videos. The sickness has been taking it out of me, and now I'm dealing with quite the massive cold sore, which is not fun. It's very painful, but we are going to soldier on, do our best that we can. So today we are going to be talking about this person right here. This was sent to me from one of you guys on TikTok, which I appreciate. This is Autumn Paige Combs, and she is a stay-at-home mom times 6. So I'm assuming that means 6 children. And as you can see, I just want to put this out there at the very start of this video. I live to piss off Karens, right? Unaesthetic stay-at-home mom of 5, right? And so I think that that kind of will give you a framework as to what kind of content this person makes, right? So we've obviously talked about a few of the like, oh, I'm going to be an unhealthy mom, or I'm going to do crazy things online that people are going to be upset about, and that's going to trigger people, and therefore that's going to grow my following. And it really seems that she is just really leaning into that. So I just want to make that very clear from the start of this video, because a lot of the comments that you see, especially on the video that we're going to be talking about, the one that was sent to me, are people being like, this has to be like clickbait, right? This has to be rage bait. People like, you're clearly, this is not real. And so I just want to put that out there. Like it very much so certainly could be fake, but I think what is crazy is that that's even a conversation, because this type of content has become just another form of content, especially on TikTok, that will garner you a following. There are plenty of, probably stay-at-home moms that are at home. They're like, I'm going to do that, right? And it's obviously becoming something that is making people money. So let's get into the video so you guys can at least see what it is that I'm talking about. So this is the video right here where she is showing what she feeds her 1-year-old for, I think it's dinner. And so again, thank you for tagging me in this. Let's go ahead and watch it.
Like my 1-year-old daughter's separate with me.
So one thing that I just off the bat that I will always feel weird about, and maybe it's because I come from like the time on YouTube when family vlogging was becoming big, and always feeling icky about it. And then, seeing all the things that happened with family vlogs, and how for the most part now people kind of view them as like not the best content. I'm always very weary of someone that is making content and it's almost all based around their kids and what they're doing for their kids and how they're like. I understand that if you're someone that is a mother that has a bunch of kids, like obviously it's going to take up a lot of your time, but I feel like there are ways to do it where you're definitely not showing your children frequently. I don't know. It just gives me ick. It just gives me the ick. It makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes me like feel like you're exploiting your kids, and it feels unnecessary. Like I feel like the reason she showed her child is because they're obviously large, and like slapping the it's just weird, man. It's just weird to me, but whatever.
Separate with me.
So we have some sort of chowder or soup or whatever.
And before I get started making her plate, if it offends you the way I feed my daughter, then scroll on. For the folks.
When people say stuff like that, it's like, dude, if you are getting so upset by how people are responding, you also have the option to not post it, right? And that would be the thing that would take away any sort of criticism that you're dealing with. I don't know. It's always kind of funny. But here we go with this this salad, which there are vegetables, but just watch.
Let's say I don't feed her veggies. Guess what?
First off, like, okay, maybe I'm being a little too obnoxious about this, but like when people talk about like eat veggies, usually they're not meaning like pre-packaged kind of salad thing, especially these types of salads that is just kind of like, the way I see it, a lot of it's just kind of crunchy water. There are other vegetables that are going to be much more beneficial, not just for your 1-year-old, but like for your whole family. If like that's what you think of when you think of vegetables, that's something that definitely should be maybe addressed, because that's, again, especially with the things that we put on top of the veggies, right?
These are veggies.
So if this was a serving for, if this was a client of mine, right? And I've only ever coached full-grown adults, not 1-year-olds. If this was a client of mine and they sent me a video like this, I would be like, what are you doing? Why do you need that much ranch? And it looks like it's full calorie ranch dressing. Like, I would be like, you need to chill out on that, okay? Because that is unnecessary, the amount of fat that you are adding to your meal for no reason, when you could find a much lower calorie dressing that is going to make your salad taste just as good, or at least close to. But again, this is for a 1-year-old, okay? 1 year old, apparently, right? If it's real. Dude. Like, I just struggle, man. She has that little smile at the end there. I'm just like, I don't believe this is, I really struggle to like believe this is real. Like, look at that smile. I don't know, man. I don't know. If this is real, shame on you, in my opinion. But if this is fake, like, I don't know why you would want, I don't understand why you would want that kind of attention. But some people, like, they'll do whatever they can to get attention, I guess. But that's really weird, in my opinion. And now we're adding cheese. Okay. More cheese. Some croutons. This is like the perfect example of someone saying, oh, I had a salad for lunch. It was a light lunch, right? And then this is the salad that they had. Salads are great. I eat salad all the time. I love salad. But there are salads that are quote unquote healthy, and there are salads that are like this, that are calorie bombs that end up, I'm sure we've all seen the photos of like, this is a salad. It ends up being like 2,000 calories from like, a Cheesecake Factory or something like that. And then there's also a salad that can end up being 500 calories for what looks like the same amount of food, right? This is absurd.
One day she's going to grow up and she's going to have to learn how to eat real good people food. You can't just feed your babies baby food for them.
So she's saying you can't just feed your babies baby food, which, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I don't have any children, but I don't think that this type of salad is the thing that you should be like, hey, get your vegetables in. This is the meal that you should eat when you're trying to get your vegetables in, The
rest of their life. Now she's going to have some cheddar broccoli soup, which is also veggies. It has potatoes, carrots, and broccoli in it.
Nothing inherently wrong with that. But again, it's the amount that, I don't know how much this child is actually eating of this, right? But it's the amount. And again, so we have cheese in the salad, right? And now we're eating cheddar broccoli soup. I wonder what we're going to put on the side of this cheddar broccoli soup.
So she's doubling up on her veggies today. I'm going to add a little.
Again, like the little smile at the end of that, it just doesn't, this feels like someone that is trying to be intentionally obtuse, right? That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting here.
I'm going to add a little sour cream.
Like, dude, look at the size of that bowl. Again, while it's a chunky 1-year-old, and I don't mean that in a mean way, children, when you're growing, you get big, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the size of a child, but like the size of this bowl this is a big bowl. This would be a size of food that I would eat. This is a serving that I would eat. So like, again, I would be surprised if it was like 100% real, right?
Right on top.
Of course, cheese on top of the cheddar broccoli soup. And are these some sort of cheddar biscuit maybe?
Sure. Cheddar bay biscuits. Two of these. Those two are stuck together, so that works out perfect. So far we've got biscuits and a salad. Alright guys, so here is her dinner. Cheddar broccoli soup.
There's just no way. There's just no... Obviously this isn't real. I refuse to believe that.
Sour cream cheese. 2 Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuits. Salad, cheese, croutons, ranch, and French fried onions. That's her dinner, folks.
So what I'm thinking is maybe this was her dinner and then she maybe shares some of her food with her child, which again is, completely fine. That's up to her. But I also wanted to go over another TikTok that she had posted, which I feel like maybe gives a little bit of the behind the scenes of actually what's happening here. This is a pinned video that she has on her profile. It says, obviously we can't listen to the music, right? So it says, what people think I feed my 1-year-old, right? And it's like 3 hot dogs, mashed potatoes, French fries, right? Versus what I actually feed her, right? And then she says, and no, she didn't eat it all, right? So that's where it's like, I feel like the last video is maybe going on, basically almost making fun of the comments that are happening. Again, obviously, I don't know for sure. There's really no way to know 100% this is definitely what's happening. But the reason that I wanted to share this and I want to talk about this is less, obviously, like, this situation is very strange and maybe she's just playing into the whole thing and playing into the meme. But the fact that this is a type of content that is becoming so popular on TikTok specifically, right? But it's becoming popular to even talk about it, right? On YouTube is because there are so many people that they see something that takes off for a certain creator, right? And then they just kind of copy it. And it seems like that's kind of what's happening here. It's just bizarre that this is becoming a type of content. And it's almost always like, well, I'm just a stay-at-home mom doing my best and I'm just trying to do the best for my kids. And if you don't like it, you can leave. You don't have to follow me. And that's kind of the script that you hear every single time. But the easiest thing in my opinion, to avoid this criticism and the attention and the stress that maybe comes along with that is to not make the content in the first place. And then especially if, like, how it feels like, if it's like rage bait, which is kind of what it feels like, to just not lean into the rage bait, because of course that's just going to cause more and more controversy. But again, more and more controversy means more and more clicks. There's going to be more and more people that are watching the videos, and that obviously entices and that encourages you to do that more and more and more. And it's just like this cycle that will never end, right? Because it's just, why not, right? Like, why would I do something that I know is going to get less attention when I know I could do something that I know for a fact is going to give me more attention? That's why I think, like, having children and the children being a big part of your content, I really think that that's something that should be looked on every platform, because I know on YouTube, they have kind of cracked down on it. Every time you put up a video, you definitely have to mention whether or not it's for kids or not, which I know is a little bit different, but there have been at least a little bit of protections that have been put in place for these kids, because, they're not consenting to this. They're just kind of being forced into this. And there's a lot of worse situations that are going on. I'm not saying that she's like some terrible person, but again, it's just another example of the things that we have seen time and time again. I'm genuinely curious if you guys are kind of agreeing with me that maybe this seems like it's just rage bait for the most part, especially that first video with just the amount of food that's there. Yeah, I would really love to know what y'all think down in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace.